All right, neighbors, it is officially 8 o'clock. Let's see by the, it's dark, or it's getting dark. I am thankful that light stays lighter later, but I'm also, I don't know, I'm in a hurry. Always, my life is always in a hurry. That's just how I live. Get it done. You know, we're taught in Taekwondo, if it's more than 3 steps, you should be running. Like, get there, get it done, execute, finish. I say that to my kids a lot. I'm like, just execute, just do it. There was a kid at work the other day and he didn't want to do the trash. It's easy. You don't get dirty. You pull trash bags out and you put new trash bags in. Super duper not complicated. He stood there for 10 minutes and bitched about how he did not want to do the trash. I was like, look, dude, could have already had it done by now. But can't we make somebody else? You want to make one of the girls do it? Who's shorter than you are? Which goes to the fact that sometimes it is a little harder to get it all the way. You know what I mean? Sometimes when the trash is tall, to get the trash tall enough to clear the bin. But for the love of Pete, just freaking do it. So, I did not want to go to work tomorrow and have, 3 left. So I got all of my sewing done today. I did not get into my sewing shed as early as I would like to, or this morning. I was doing some other things, tried to get my reading done. It's not finished. Then I don't like to go and wake up the neighbors too early, so I try not to go there too early. And then I got caught into stuff I had to do in the house. So finally I got over there. I think I worked about 8.5 hours today, which again, it's not like, oh my gosh, you worked a 12-hour million day. I didn't. But I also only have a step stool that I sit on in front of my sewing machine. And so after a while, my butt hurts. It's got lots of cushion on it, trust, but it just hurts. So I think it's still a little numb right now. We're gonna try and walk it out. But I also am one who, I don't take breaks, because breaks are for losers. I just never have. You don't do that. That's not where I come from. And there are many, many people in this world who absolutely cannot understand that. I still remember many years ago, when we had just moved here, the sweet little neighbor kid came over. And that's why when I talk about hey, we're the neighbors, because he would always tell all of his friends and the people at church, and he's like, oh, we got new neighbors, and we got to go over to the neighbor's house. And so that's what he called us. So you can come along and be neighbors with us. Here's my neighbors. Let's see if their horses are hanging out over here. Sometimes they come say hi, but usually not. So he comes over and we were out playing in the garden, and I've always given my kids jobs. I've always made them help. And so he came over, and if you have a child who has been to my house, or if you I walk through spider webs. If you have been to my house with your children or as a child, you will know that I collectively just take everybody and they're now part of the family. That's just what it is. You're here. We include you. So he was out digging, and we give the kid a shovel, and all the kids were out digging in the garden. I have no idea what we're doing. Planting something, I'm sure, because I typically am planting something. And so at one point in time, he stands up, and he was probably 5, and he stands up and he says, okay. He says, Miss Angie, can we have a break now? My kid stood up and went, a break? What's that? What's a break? Mom, what's he talking about? I was like, well, I said, we don't do breaks at this house. Now, I'm not so awful that I don't give the 5-year-olds time to get some water and stuff like that. That's not that. But like I said before, we are very much a task-oriented family. You should not be the typical, you have to show up for 8 hours and just continue to work 8 hours. That's not breeding children who are get shit done people. You work until the task is finished. And I learned this from my parents who have had their own businesses for years. If you don't get the salsa made, my mom makes salsa. If you don't get the salsa made in your 5 hours, you don't get to just say, we're going to go ahead and pick this up tomorrow. That's not how it works. Because if you don't get it made on Monday when you're supposed to, then by the time Tuesday comes around, well, the people who are supposed to pick up the salsa can't pick up the salsa. And you have to have time to box the salsa and wrap the salsa. It's a process. And that process needs time to work. And so you got to get shit done. So I did not want to leave 1 or 2 bags. I want to get them all done. So I stayed in there and got them all done. I did not take, I took a break for probably 5 minutes when my child brought me in lunch, and I've taken 2 potty breaks, which just means I go over to the camper, I go to the bathroom, and I go back to work. So this is the first time at 8 o'clock at night, with all of the mosquitoes and all of the spider webs, that I am getting a chance to do workout number 1. And then I'll have to go in the house, finish my reading, grab a shake for supper. We got new protein powders today, thanks to John Willis at SOE Tactical Gear. He put out a coupon code that I think it's SOE Gear, and that's 20% off. And so we bought some MRE Light protein. Of course, my humans cannot agree, so we got cookies and cream, and we got, it's hot fudge brownie, are the 2 ones that we are getting. And the boys who are trying to get healthier, eat more protein, work out a little bit. The youngest is 14. The next child is 16. And we've been lifting weights. They have been lifting weights. I do lift weights as my second workout, but nothing heavy, just not crazy. I would rather ease into it. I used to lift a lot of weights. Just haven't in a while. So I also want to make sure that I don't injure myself, because if I hurt something enough that I cannot do these workouts, well then frankly I have to start over. And I think that would suck. So we decided yesterday, I think today's day 24. So I told my husband, I said, we're about 1/3 of the way through it. Ew. Turning around, that was a bunch of spider webs. He was not excited. He's like, yeah, this is crap. He said we should be way further along than we are. And we're not. That's just the way it is. Not giving up yet. He did already get through his first book. And he says, oh, I think this is the first book that I read since high school. I thought, that's sad. Because I read a million books. I finished one last week, and I finished a different one this week. The one this week was like a fiction book. I finished one of my nonfiction books last week, and I started a new one yesterday, I think. So anyway, not really much more to update. I believe in our house update situation that by the end of this week, we will have at least enough money together that we'll be able to start the process of moving over, which entails us getting the septic system going. We had talked about digging part of that ourselves. I don't think that's going to happen and or work out, because in the state of Tennessee, you have to have it like an installer's license or an installer's permit, I guess. And we are not licensed. So we have not found a company that will let you do part of it. Basically, they're like, no, we're licensed, we have to do it all. So that's fine. We want to make sure that it's the biggest tank that we can put in there, because the way they do it in the state of Tennessee is they go by perk sites, and they come out and they say, oh yeah, well, you can have 3 bedrooms. Which, anyway, I asked the guy, I said, explain it to me. I said, why does it go by bedrooms and why does it not go by toilets? And he said, well, you could have 1 toilet and 100 people living there and they would all use 1 toilet, but you still have 100 people. And he said, or you can have 1 bedroom and 6 toilets and you're still getting the same amount of crap going through the system, which kind of makes sense. But on the flip side of that, I can have 3 bedrooms and still have 45 people there. So it's not really helpful. So we're perked for a 3-bedroom house. We will be having more than 3 bedrooms. And the way we get into that is, let me rephrase that. We will be having more than 3 places that people will sleep. We always have, because we have more than 3 people. And I'm sure that we will be having foster kids again. I mean, I just keep feeling that on my heart, that I'd like to help the humans. It's not their fault, you know, that their parents are in whatever situation that their parents are in. So we're gonna you have to have an extra bedroom. They pretty much have to have their own bedroom. There are some exceptions if the children are within 2 or 3 years of age and they are the same sex children, then they can share a bedroom. So we had a little girl and then her 2 brothers. The 2 brothers could share a bedroom. The little girl was still in a crib, so while she was an infant, she was actually in our room, like at night and stuff like that, in her crib. But the way to kind of get around the bedroom thing is you just make a room that doesn't have a closet. Then it's considered, I don't know, a den or whatever, and that way they won't count it as a bedroom. You don't get in trouble with the bedroom police. There's some really wacky stuff going on that just makes no sense. But that's what we got, and then we'll have enough money to get our well built. The USDA, no, I don't remember the name of the organization. There's a government organization that will help you do some things to your property, and it's one of those like cost sharing programs type of, they will reimburse you for stuff. And talk to her, she can help with the well and stuff like that, as long as it's for animals. But the problem is that we have to do something sooner than that, and they pay out in October. Well, October is when the process starts for application process, and they don't pay out until March of the following year. So they will help with cross fencing, but they will not help with perimeter fencing. I was trying to think of some of those. They'll help with cover crops, except that since it hasn't been planted in the last year, that it gets into a gray area, of course. They will help with high tunnels. You have to plant in the ground. I don't care. That would be helpful. And then electricity, we've talked to the electricity company. I'm not so sure that we're gonna have electricity on our place. I think from what it sounds like, we may just go full solar, because that would make me happy, not having to ever have to deal with those. But I also know that it's a cost, so we might have to throw might have to throw my child in there. Is that what you're saying to me? Okay. We might have to go ahead and put the electricity in. We can run it underground. We were originally told that we were not allowed to run it more than 250 feet, but we can. But of course, the catch-22 is that we have to pay them to install it. We don't get to dig the trench, which has to be 45 inches below ground or something atrocious. We don't get to do that. They have to do that all, and we would have to obviously pay them for it. I would rather sink my money into getting the 3 power poles that randomly go through a corner of our yard. I would rather pay them to try and get those off of our yard. He said that might actually be doable because the main line runs at the edge of our road, so there's no reason for them to randomly go through our yard. Other than that, that's kind of the week. Tomorrow's my long day. Thursday we're going to the local library, who has started a seed library at our library, and we've been packing seeds and helping that, and that's going to help me get some more hours for my Master Gardener badge, because I started it, I took all the classes, and I need to finish. That's a me finish kind of girl. So that's kind of where we're at, and now I'm gonna finish my walk, get the rest of my crap done, go to bed, do the John Willis sleep faster. I'm gonna try and sleep as fast as I can because I have to get up early. Last Wednesday I went ahead and got up early so that I could get my first workout done before my long day. It was nicer not having to come home at 8 o'clock and try and fit 2 workouts in. So I will be trying to do that again. And then I usually call my mom on the way home, so I get a couple hours to just chat on the phone with her and catch up. Keep her a little bit more sane since she does live alone, although my brothers are there with the business almost every day. So I gotta check up on her, and hopefully if we can keep whittling her down so that she'll come down and live with us when our next house gets built. And we went ahead and made a big hairy goal. So thanks, Nicole. And our BHAG is that by Christmas next year, we will have our house built and we'll be celebrating Christmas at our new house. And we're gonna keep up on that. We've had some posters put up with our goals on it on the walls. My husband really needs a truck because the one he has is quite literally falling apart, but it's all we have. So he has put up a couple pictures of a truck that he would really like to buy, put them up on his wall today so we can start to visualize our goals and know what we're sacrificing for and fighting for and going after, because right now we're kind of really tired in the fight. It's been 2.5 years since our house burnt down, and some days just putting, not that we're so overwhelmed that we're just gonna lay on the couch and do nothing, but doing that little bit of extra of, you know, working another business to get up to be able to provide for us, and me working a couple different jobs so that we can have enough money to make the mortgage payment on the new place until we can sell this place. You know, it's a fight, it's a mental fight. And so I'm trying to keep up with that, and it's been tough some days. Huh? We're getting there, we're getting closer, getting some new acquaintances that will really encourage us to keep fighting a good fight, and hopefully we'll be putting out some more farm videos on some canning that we're gonna do. And rhubarb is coming up, so we're gonna have some rhubarb jam. And I just got a recipe for some rhubarb punch that we are gonna do. It's a traditional Mennonite punch. They typically serve at weddings, I think, is what we do. So I'll be doing some canning videos and some videos about how to make that. My apple vinegar is coming along nicely. I stirred it again this morning, and talk to you guys tomorrow.